This session we are going to look at how to dry run the process part of the NSChat symbol. Okay, so I'll use only the process. In the next session we will look at the decision, and following that we will look at the loop. Okay, so in this one we are going to look at the process. Okay, so in this video we will see how the program instructions, that is the code that we decided to use, and the symbols in the NSChat. Specifically we are going to use the process and see how to dry run that. Okay, so instructions we have looked at so far that we decided to use in our NSChat are show and get, to get from the keyboard, show to show on the screen, and finally to assign values to a variable you are going to use this arrow. Okay, so these are the three instructions we will be using in our NSChat. In addition to that, we have our NSChat symbols, the process, the decision, the loop while, and the loop until. But in this session, we are going to look at actually the process symbol. Okay, so just again a reminder: dry run can be done on any programs written in any of the following method. That is, dry run, the process of dry run you can do for any of the things that we are going to just look at. So just to give you some idea, the traditional flowchart, like which I explained what a traditional flowchart for you. So if you are written something in traditional flowchart, that also can be dry run. If you are writing something in the NSChat, that also can be dry run. Okay, so I will tell you why we are dry running. So for NSChat or traditional flowchart you can do. Plus, even once you start writing actual program code instructions, programming instructions in a particular language, those also can be dry run. So there is no limit to what are the things you can dry run. Anything, any method that you use to write a program, you can use the dry run method and on that. Okay, even pseudocode, which we haven't talked about, if there's something called pseudocode, instead of using NSChat or traditional flowchart, there's another method to do this in something called pseudocode. So if you use pseudocode also, that can also be dry run generally. Okay, so any of these can be, that's why I put etc. Should say not only these but other things also can be dry run. But anyway, we are only concerned about mainly the NSChat in this case. Okay, so dry run is the process of manually, this I think I already explained to you in a previous session. Dry run is the process of manually, that is without using the computer, going through your program. Now whenever I talk about program, remember I'm talking about NSChat in this case, but it could have been a traditional flowchart or actual program code or whatever. So here I'm referring to program, the word program for NSChat, because we are going to do this in NSChat. So our program means what we are written in NSChat. Okay, so dry run is the process of manually, that is without using the computer, going through the program, that is going through your NSChat in this case, to verify what the program will actually do before you use the computer. Because when you write a program, you're writing a program to get the computer to do something. Okay, so before giving that to the computer, you can dry run and check whether it will do what we really wanted it to do. So to verify that only, you will be generally using this dry run. Okay, and the most important thing in the dry run, which a lot of people fail, this is very important. Okay, so make note of that. When you do the dry run, because see, before you do the dry run, you have already written your NSChat, no? So whatever commands you want to say in that, you have already said that in the NSChat. Okay, so when you are doing the dry run, you have already written everything you want to do. So at that point, just do what is there, what you have put in the NSChat. Don't think outside that. Okay, just do that. That is what the most important thing is. Whatever you have put in the NSChat, do it exactly without adding or subtracting anything to that. Okay, just do what you have already told in the NSChat, whatever you have said. So we will see that in our, when we do the dry running. Don't alter it. Okay, don't change it. You just do it. Then only you can see whether it will do your job or not. Okay, so remember, when you do the dry run, just do what you have written in the program. Do not do anything extra. Okay, or even less than extra also, don't do anything. Okay, just do exactly the same thing. Just do what the program instructs. This is a very important part to remember. Okay, when you are doing the dry run, which I think a lot of people have difficulty in, so you have to remember that. Okay, but while dry running, sometimes you will notice, okay, what I have written in my dry run, when you dry run in your NS chart, is not going to do what you really want to do, because you are doing a NS chart to do something. So when you go through the dry run and try to do all that, you suddenly figure out, while the dry running process is going on, before finishing, you might suddenly figure out, what I have written is wrong. This will actually not do what I want to do, because now you have started dry running, and when you're going through the dry run, you will realize that. The moment you realize, okay, what you have to do is you can stop the dry run, correct whatever you want to correct, and the most important part again here is re-dry run. That is, start from the beginning again. If you do any changes, if you think your NS chart is not correct and you do some modification, remember you have to start from the beginning and dry run and see once again, because when you do the modification and start from there, you will not get the actual proper result. So you might get misled. So very, very important, do exactly what you have written in the NS chart. At the time of writing, think what you want to write, okay? But when you're dry running, don't think what you want to write, because you have already written. Just dry run what you have written to see whether that will do what you want to do. Okay, don't do anything extra or anything less. Just do exactly what you have said there. But suddenly, if you figure out there is something wrong, correct it and start from the beginning to dry run again. Okay, remember. And if you again feel something wrong, correct it, start from the beginning. Every time you do some correction, make sure you start from the beginning and go through the entire dry run process. Okay, so that's the most important thing to remember. And as you know, we are going to use the NS chart, and we will be writing our programs, and we will be dry running the NS chart. Okay, just remember that. So first thing, we will start directly. We will get into a practical situation, and we will see few examples. Okay, first example, write a program. In this case, whenever I say write a program, we are talking about NS chart. Okay, not the actual program, which we will come to later. We are writing a program using the NS chart. Okay, so write a program to display number 25. I want to start with very, very simple thing, and we will build on that. Okay, so I'm starting with a very, very simple tiny thing, as you will see. Okay, so I'm going to use a NS chart and do. And as you know, whatever you, any command that the three commands we have discussed, the display, show, and that arrow, all these three commands will only go in the process symbol of the NS chart. Okay, wherever you use it, it will be inside the process symbol. You can't use these commands in the condition part of the decision, or the condition part of the loop. You can't. Okay, so always it will be in the process. So let's see. Now, you know, a process is just a rectangle. Okay, so let's see how we are going to write this. I want to display 25 on the screen. So what do? I have start, that is a process. Okay, just to indicate the beginning of my program, and then show 25. Because remember, the command we used, we have one other command we are going to use is show. So what's the purpose of the command show? To show whatever you are indicating on the screen. So this is what we want to should do, right? If you look at the exercise, write a program to display number 25. So basically this is all, end it. That's all. So if to do this particular thing, this is what your NS chart will be like. Now to dry run this you don't really need to dry run, but just we'll go through the formal process so you understand all the dry running process. We have the show command, and as you know, only the show command. We don't have the get command or the arrow. So we only need a screen for this. Okay. So since our NS chart only uses show display on the screen, we need only the screen to do the dry run. So you write a screen for that, and then start the dry run. You start the first process. Okay, that is start, nothing to do, just to indicate it's the beginning. Then go to the next line. Next line says show 25. So the show is to say to show something on the screen. So what are we going to show? The 25. So the 25 comes in here, right? And also remember, we have already studied this. If there are double quotes around it, it is alphanumeric. If there are no double quotes, it's numeric, right? So actually this is a numeric constant. So we are saying show 25. It's trying to show the numeric constant 25 on the screen. So the next thing that will happen is it will appear on the screen. So this is my dry running process of this program. Okay, and finally after that is done, it will go to the next line, which is the end of dry run. Finish, done. So the program we are written, and we also dry ran the program and so. And in the dry run, when you come to the end, what you see on the screen is the 25, and that happened through this particular command. So this is exercise 1. Example 1. I want to do the same thing, a version 2. Slightly different. Actually, you don't have to, just to show you how these things work. Let's do. So in the version 2, I'm not going to use the constant directly. So instead, I'm going to assign that value into a variable, numeric variable. Okay, these are numeric constant, no double quotes. Remember, if you're not sure of this, refer to those sessions where we talked about numeric constants, numeric variables, alphanumeric constants, alphanumeric variables. Just make sure you understand that. Okay, so here we are talking about 25. 25 is a numeric constant. So we are assigning that to the variable called number. So therefore, num is a numeric variable. Okay, so I'm assigning, and then our exercise is to display the 25 on the screen. So this is the second version. So assigning a value to num, it will not display. So assigning it to the variable, and then I'm going to display that variable on the screen. So when I say num, it's a variable, so it's the contents of that will be displayed and ended. So these are, so in our first version we just directly showed the value. The second version we are assigning it to a variable and doing it. Which one is better, which one is not better, don't worry about that too much at this point in time. When you're really working on these things, you will figure out, okay, for this particular requirement this is good, for this particular requirement. So depending on the requirement, different options may be required. Okay, so in this case we have a show command as well as assignment command. And remember, when you have the assignment command, you have to have a variable also on the screen. And what is the variable we have in the flowchart is num. Okay, so we will need the screen to do the show, and we will need the variable called num to assign the value to this. So we need to do, looking at this, we need to create the put these two on the screen, or write it on a piece of paper, and then we start the dry run. Okay, you start, and then you go to the next one. Next one says assign the value 25 onto num. Now is here num is the variable. It's in the main memory. Remember, you can't see this area. What you can see on your through your naked eye is your screen, the display of the computer. Num is inside the memory, so you won't see this. This is only what you see. But this command doesn't say to put anything on here, because that is the job of the show command. This command says put the value into this variable. So what will happen when this happens is the value 25 will be put here. That's all. Then you go to the next line. This line only will try to show the num. Now this is not a numeric constant, alphanumeric constant. If there is double quotes, you get the same thing coming on the screen. But here we are just saying show num. Num is a numeric variable. So that means the contents of the variable. We have already discussed that. So show num means it won't show the word num. Instead it will show the contents of num, which is 25. And then you go to the end, done. So in version 1 as well as in version 2, what we did was we showed the value 25, slightly in different methods. But finally the outcome here in this version 2, we need a variable also. But our requirement is to show the number 25. So in both cases, it showed the number 25. That's the way to write the flowchart. So this is the second version of the same example. Okay, right. Now let's look at another for alphanumeric. This time I want to use an alphanumeric and show. Write a program, again NSChat, right, to display the word computer. Now earlier the computer is a alphanumeric constant, right? 25 is a numeric constant. So this time we are going to show an alphanumeric constant. So you write a flowchart, show. So see, the end. This is the version 1, same as the earlier case. You start, and when you want to show something exactly as it is, you put double quotes around it to make it a constant. So this is an alphanumeric constant, this word. So we are going to show the word computer and then end it. Okay. So since the show is there, right? NSChat only uses show. You only need the screen. We don't have the arrow, or we don't have the get. So variables are not required in this case. So you just do the screen and start the dry run. Okay. When you start the dry run, you go to the first one. Always you start up with the start. Okay. Start actual, nothing will happen there, but you indicate that, okay, let's start. Then you go to the next one. This says show computer. So that means it has to come on the screen. The word computer appears, right? Remember, the double quotes are not part of the alphanumeric constant. It just shows the start and the end of it. Okay, if you are not sure, refer to the session we did. There I have explained that. So now the computer is shown, and then this is done. Now we go to the next line, end. End of the dry run, finish. So this